Hi, my name is Maria, and I decided to do my vlog on auto accidents and what your rights are because I get this question a lot. First and foremost, it's important for you to know that Florida is a no-fault state. Okay, so what does no fault mean? The name implies it. It means that in the event that say I'm driving and I'm stopped at a light and someone just smashes into my vehicle from the back, clearly it is their fault. I did not cause the accident. It was completely their fault. In the event that I need to go to the hospital or I need to go to a chiropractor, or I need to go to an orthopedic surgeon, whatever it may be, my insurance moves forward and pays for my medical bills, or up to $10,000 of my medical bills. A lot of you know this already, but again, if you don't, Florida requires all drivers to carry a minimum of $10,000 in PIP insurance benefits, which stands for personal injury protection. There is no requirement for bodily injury coverage. Okay, what does bodily injury coverage mean? So again, we know that PIP, personal injury protection, is to cover you, yourself. And then bodily injury is, again, say in the event this person hit me and I am hurt. So his bodily injury insurance would cover anything for me. The problem is, again, it's not a requirement. So there are a lot of people out there driving with no bodily injury insurance. And that's sad because sometimes there is still ways to recover. That's why it is recommended that you always contact an attorney, because if there is anything for you to get, they're going to find it. Something else you may want to look into is having uninsured motorists or underinsured motorists. So again, this is insurance that would cover you in the event that somebody who doesn't have bodily injury insurance hits you. Now you're able to put a claim with your insurance to make sure that you're able to recover anything that you can. The purpose that no fault was even created was to move the process along as far as courts, because before you would sue somebody, again, the court is awesome, our justice system, again, everyone might have their opinions, but we have it and it's great, but it's not a quick process. So they created no fault to bypass that so that you're able to just go ahead and move forward with any medical treatments that you may need. The thing is, initially, there weren't that many uninsured motorists because there weren't very many motorists in general. Owning a car was not something that everyone was able to afford to do. As that became more streamlined and made its way into the general public, same as like our cell phones and things like that, now it has become a problem. So when you recap everything, what we see is that people are willing to take the risk of driving with no insurance or not ample insurance, like bodily injury or uninsured motorists, because they have nothing to lose. So that's why we have to be informed so that we protect ourselves. So everybody, when it's no fault, because Florida's a no fault, wants to get paid back. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say that, again, I was in the car accident, I was rear-ended, ambulance took me to the hospital. Thankfully, I'm alive, but I had a lot of medical expenses. When I went to the hospital, I provided them with my car insurance information because, again, everyone should have that personal injury protection up to $10,000. But I also gave them my medical insurance card, okay? So my medical insurance went ahead and paid whatever my personal injury protection insurance did not pay. Now, again, even though you get $10,000 with personal injury protection, they don't pay it at 100%. They pay usually 80%, and there's always a deductible. So like I said, here comes my medical insurance, and they go ahead and they pay whatever it is that they're going to pay. When we file a lawsuit or a claim, everything is obviously, before you go into the actual court system, there's kind of like a back and forth that's going on with my lawyer and, let's say, the person who hit me, their insurance adjusters or lawyers or whatnot. At the end of everything, when, let's say that they're trying to settle the claim for however much money they're trying to settle it for, my insurance, my medical insurance, is expected to be paid back. So to give you some numbers, let's just say that my medical insurance paid $1,000. When I receive, let's say that that person's insurance had $10,000 to give, my lawyer was amazing. He was able to get them to tender that $10,000 check. After everything, my medical insurance expects to be paid back that $1,000 because, again, Florida is a no-fault state, and so they're not at fault. Like, they would have never had to pay that medical bill had it not been because I was in an accident, and it wasn't my fault. Now, say that they didn't have insurance or I'm not filing any kind of legal claims, then my medical insurance would pay it. I don't have to pay it back or whatnot. But in this particular scenario, if you're recovering in any way from anyone, they want to get paid back. That's one scenario. Second scenario is sometimes when you buy your car insurance, you may pay a little bit extra to have med pay. So that med pay would cover that deductible I was talking about earlier, and it also covers that 20%. But even though you have that med pay through your car insurance, at the end of your claim or whatnot that you're doing, they want to get paid back as well, because again, Florida is a no-fault state. So a lot of times it gets tricky because your lawyer has to handle all of that. Those are considered bills at the end of your case. So even if you're able to recover $100,000 from the person who hit you, all of your bills, so your hospital bills, any monies that was paid by your health insurance, any monies that was paid by med pay through your car insurance, any of that, those are all considered bills that your attorney has to negotiate in the end, and it is a requirement. So they have to do that. Okay, so that whole long-winded explanation I just gave you is just a definition for a term which is called subrogation. At the end of the day, in a nutshell, what it means is that should you recover any monies from the at-fault party insurance, your medical providers, medical insurance, whatnot, med pay, like I was saying before, are going to expect to be paid back. Okay, so we touched a little bit before on what uninsured motorist was. Again, that is basically an additional insurance that you're able to purchase. But I do want to be clear that it doesn't mean that the person who hit you had to have no insurance. It could also be underinsured. So again, since bodily injury is not a requirement, neither is the amount that they're getting insured. So there are a lot of people that might do the minimum, which is $10,000. So say that person hits you and they have $10,000 in bodily injury. But let's just say that your medical bills after you were done treating, you went to the hospital, you had to go to an orthopedic surgeon, whatever it may be, but your bills supersede that $10,000. If you have underinsured, uninsured motorist coverage, then once you obtain that $10,000 from that person's insurance, you're able to file a claim to your insurance like, hey, I got everything I was able to get from this insurance of the person that hit me, but my bills are way larger. I'm very, very hurt, and now we can go after your insurance, the underinsured, uninsured motorist, for however much you've insured. And again, maybe you only have $10,000, or maybe you got 25 or 50. It's something that you pay for, so you're the one that kind of controls what it is that you're going to be able to utilize. All right, so we've talked about everything that is revolving around if you're injured in a car accident. So one of the most important things to know is that if you are injured in a car accident, a lot of times it is recommended that you deal with an attorney. And the reason for that is because the insurance companies have attorneys working for them. So you should always deal with the attorney. Again, they are personal injury attorneys for a reason. They know the laws. They're going to get you the best for what you need. A lot of times these insurance companies try to control the narrative. It is not acceptable. Make sure that you are well prepared just like they are well prepared. That's number one. Number two, some people aren't hurt. Say I got it, or they don't feel like finding out if they're hurt. Some people are hurt and don't even choose to go to the doctor to find out if they're hurt. You are in your right to do so. But who fixes your car? So let's just say, get hit, my car is not drivable. It needs to be towed or whatnot. Most of the people in Florida, or anybody who, if you have insurance, you hear this a lot. I have full coverage. There is no really such thing as full coverage unless you get all these different riders to cover you. So first and foremost, property insurance. Property insurance means that I have X amount of dollars to cover the person's car who I hit. So let's say this person behind me hits me, their property insurance, if they have it, would cover me, okay? If you do not carry collision coverage, okay, then that means that your car cannot be covered by your insurance. So again, in the event that person hits you and they do not have any insurance, or they only have the low PIP, right? That means that your car would have to get fixed by you paying it cash. And there's all kinds of implications with that, because if you still owe money for your car, let's say that you went and bought it at a dealership, then the only money you're going to get back is the value of the car at that moment. So if you have a bigger bill for it because you are financing it, then if you don't have gap insurance, you will actually have to continue to make payments towards that car, even though it's not drivable or it's totaled. So it's very important, if you don't already know this, for you to get gap insurance as well if it's a car that you're financed. But again, who covers your insurance? So say that somebody does hit you and they do have insurance coverage. They have the property insurance and whatnot. Most of the time, we're able to get that insurance to pay for a rental and get you your car fixed. That is not always the case, and it's not a requirement. Most attorneys that help you do this are doing so as a courtesy, because again, they are personal injury attorneys. So they're really only representing you for your injuries, but they do help with your property, because it's understandable that that is a very important situation. Like, you need it. You need your car to get around, and a lot of people are very stressed out when they don't have their vehicles. But again, that is something that you do not need an attorney for. So say that you are not planning on moving forward with any lawsuit or whatnot, you can immediately talk to their insurance or your own. Say they don't have insurance. If you have your own, you are going to have a deductible that you have to pay. And it depends on what your insurance coverage says. It could be $500, it can be $1,000, but you will have a deductible to cover, unfortunately, even if it wasn't your fault. So it is unfortunate, but that's what would happen. Okay, so we've talked about no fault, we've talked about PIP, we've talked about uninsured motorist, subrogation. I feel like I've given you some nice pearls to take away. If I can give you any advice right now, it would be, as soon as you finish watching this video, find out what your coverage is so that you know if you truly have full coverage. Because again, to have full coverage, you need to make sure that, let's go over it again. We obviously know you're going to have PIP because that is required by law. But do you have collision coverage to cover your personal vehicle in the event that the person that hits you does not have insurance? Do you have property insurance to cover the person's car if you hit somebody? Because again, you may hit somebody. And then do you have BI, bodily injury, so that in the event you hit somebody and it's your fault, to cover them? Those are the 4 things you want to make sure that you check. The other thing that I would recommend is that if you are in a car accident, which again, it could happen, do not try to do it on your own. Talk to an attorney. I know that attorneys get bad rap sometimes, but talk to the attorney, because I promise you that the insurance doesn't only have one attorney, they have a team of attorneys to try and see how they can gyp you. That's their job. They're called adjusters, and they have attorneys, and the adjustment is to go down, to give you the least amount of money that they can. So if they're offering you money at the scene, a lot of times 2 or 3 days later, they might be like, oh, I'll give you this much money, and you haven't even been to the doctor yet. Ask yourself, why are they so in a rush to finish and just give you whatever? Like, no, find out if you're sick. Go to the doctor. It's very important, because actually one very important thing that I did not mention is that you only have 14 days to go to the doctor. If you don't go to the doctor in the 14 days, you actually don't have the PIP coverage anymore. So go to your primary care physician even. Just get yourself checked out. Go to an urgent care. If you're not really hurt, there's no reason for you to go to the hospital. The hospital's job is just to find out if you're gonna die. That's their main goal. So if you're able to wait and you can go to like a spine specialist or just whatever you're feeling, do that. But at least you go and you get checked out.